Hello students, welcome to one more session of your WOC, that is World of Chemistry. Recently in the community tab I have asked you which topic do you want me to do. So students have asked me, like many students have asked me, as coordination compounds is the most important topic. So in the inorganic series, please watch the previous videos. Every concept whatever is uploaded, please remember the topic will contain beautiful quality content. So you need to watch that, analyze that, and please apply it in the exams. So today I'll be teaching you the tricks which you'll be using in coordination compounds. When we very well know that 2 to 3 questions compulsory will come in your JEE as well as NEET examination. Correct? So let us start with the tricks which are required. I'll be giving you important tricks and please try to apply it in the question. So when I read the first question, we very well know they'll be asking a question on geometry, isn't it? So let's see this question, how to solve this. Let's read. So here they have given is how to calculate geometry of the complex of FeBr4 minus whose spin only magnetic moment is 5.92 Bohr magneton. This is what is given. So basically here I'm not taking the multiple choice question in this. I'm going to teach you the trick how to calculate the geometry, right? So before going into the concept, the first trick which you have to remember is, just see here, whenever such question is given to you, your concentration should go more on the ligands. This is the metal ion, this is the ligand, correct? So we have two varieties of ligands. One is the strong ligand or the strong field ligands and the weak ligands, as well as neutral ligands also, correct? So what are strong ligands? Basically, it's very difficult to remember the spectrochemical series, isn't it? Right. So here, remember, whenever the donor atoms, so for the strong field ligand, whenever a donor atom means the ligand here, this ligand, if the ligand or the donor atoms are, which one, if they are sulfur, okay, or let us take not this one, if there are not sulfur, it is carbon, sorry, if the donor atom is carbon, or if the donor atom is nitrogen, if the donor atom is phosphorus, then those are all strong ligands or the strong field ligands. Now if I take the weak field ligands, suppose if the donor atoms are, what are the donor atoms? If it is either oxygen or sulfur, then they are called weak field ligands. And neutral ligands, as we said, just like this one, water molecule is a neutral ligand, correct? Right? So here you need to remember, ammonia also is a neutral ligand, but we have to say specifically what is a neutral ligand. Now remember this. So if you find all these three in this, then we can analyze. Remember, now if it is carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, that means like carbon examples, if I take Cn minus is 1, correct, Nc is 1, then CO is 1, then if I have to take DMG, dimethyl glyoxime is 1, EDTA is 1, okay, ethylene diamine, then okay, then we have, okay, phosphine, then trimethyl hexane, this one. So these are all strong ligands. If I have to take the weak ligand examples, understand here, weak ligand example is if it stands with oxygen, sulfur, and even halogens also you can add. So halogens are what? Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine is 1. Next, if it starts with oxygen means it can be OH minus. If it starts with sulfur means SCN minus. If it starts with one more oxygen means oxalato, C2O4 minus 2, oxalato. So remember this, right? So here, first of all, donor atoms, strong ligand means carbon, nitrogen, phosphorus, okay. Then if its donor atom is oxygen, sulfur, halogens, weak ligand. Water molecule is this one. Now how am I going to apply in this? Now they have given me FeBr4. Where is it coming? Br4 is coming in which ligand? It comes under weak ligand, because halogen comes under weak ligand, okay. So weak ligand, done. Now we very well know weak ligand. What is the concept? Will they just do the pairing part of the rearrangement will happen? No. Correct? Yes. So that concept is clear. Now I'm going to apply this concept. See here. Now in FeBr4, either there are two options. I have to predict the geometry. FeBr4 minus. If here I very well know now Br minus, according to me, is a weak field ligand, or a weak field ligand. Correct. So in weak field ligand, will the rearrangement or pairing happens? No rearrangement will happen. No rearrangement or no pairing will happen. Okay. Or we will write no pairing happens. No pairing happen. Correct. Now, second important trick, what you should remember, always you should remember the secondary valency is equal to the coordination number. This we very well know. Correct. The secondary valence is a coordination number. Now first I should know about the ligand. Done. Then second thing, secondary valence is a coordination number. Now what is the coordination number here? How many ligands are there around the central metal atom? Here the coordination number is 4. Okay, two things I know. Now either the geometry can be, because it is 4, it can be either DSP2 or sp3. How did I judge this? Because 4, no, 2 3 4, here also 3 plus 1 4, it can be either 2. But now remember, as we said, it is weak ligand, no pairing will occur. So when there is no pairing, it will not go to inner orbital complex. This is inner orbital complex, isn't it? Inner, when inner orbital complex. So when will this happen? Inner orbital complex means basically pairing happens. Now we said bromine is a weak ligand, no pairing happens, so it will not go pairing. What is left of? sp3. So what is a hybridization? Now we said FeBr4, what is the thing? Now we can just clearly say that FeBr4 minus, what type of hybridization it has? It has sp3 hybridization with the geometry that is tetrahedral structure. This is fine, students. So clear, I think. So two things you need to remember. That is, first thing, remember this strong ligand, weak ligand and neutral ligand. After that, you can judge by yourself, saying that whether pairing occurs, not pairing. Suppose if it is 4, both the types of hybridizations you have written. Now because it is weak, it will not pair up, the leftover is sp3 hybridization. Now let us come and do the next question. Right, let us check and read the next question, students. Let's see. What did they give? Here they gave. What is the trick you have to remember? How to check or solve solubility questions, stability equations. Basically, stability equations are compulsorily asked in the exam. So how to solve this? Let us take certain examples and understand. Right. Here they have given one complex. Among both of them, which is more stable? Among both of them, which is more stable? They're asking. Right. So here if I see, potassium is common, iron also is common. But the only difference which is there, let me take one more pen here, right? So the only difference which is there is your halogen. Here it is chlorine, here it is bromine, correct? Now, here when I take the oxidation state of potassium, it is +2, here also +2. Now, how will I decide? Only your halogens will decide the stability. How? Just remember, for understanding this, and note one trick. What is the trick? Just see. Among both the halogens, first thing, we very well know, we have seen the order of your acidity, isn't it? Earlier, what is the strongest acid? Hydroiodic acid. What is the next? This is stronger. What is the next acid? HBr. What is the next acid? HCl. So this is the strongest acid. This is a little bit compared to this. This is a weak acid, means compared to this I'm saying. Done. If I have to write the conjugate base of this, for the acid, the conjugate base of this. What is the conjugate base of this? I minus, Br minus, Cl minus. This is the acid part. This is the acidic order. This one is the acidic order. And this is the basic order. Means the conjugate base. So this is the basic order. Now, so here when I take acidic order and basic order, just understand. The one which is the strongest acid, the conjugate base would be weak, correct? No, if the acid is strong, its conjugate base is weak. So automatically I minus is weaker, Br minus is weaker, Cl minus is weaker. This is clear. Now, if it is a weak base, what is the concept you need to remember? It can have good donation. It can easily donate, correct? That means the donation part is easy. If it is easier, again I said, the one which is good donation, means basic nature, can have or will have good stability. Remember that, good stability. Conjugate base part. So where is chlorine? Now chlorine is here. So here among these two, which has more stability? This part. This is clear, students? Yes. Now let us come to the next question. Here they have given oxalato, that is your chelating ligand. This is where all the rings formed. Correct? Now check here. This is a chelate, means it forms chelate ring. What are the other chelate rings? Examples are EDTA. Wherever you find EDTA, ethylene diamine, we mention it as EN, isn't it? Right. So this is a chelate ring. Now in this case again, you have a anionic ligand. First important thing you remember, wherever there are more chelate rings, the complex is more stable. Remember this. So if there are chelate rings, and if there are chelate rings like ethylene diamine, wherever you find chelate rings, just like this OX, EN, okay, if they form a chelate or a bridge, then compulsory the complex is stable in nature. This is fine? This is clear? Yes. So this is the concept. Now let us see one more question which is very important. Right. Let's read this third question and analyze the thing. Right. So which complex has larger crystal field stabilizing energy, that is delta naught, among the following? So basically when such questions are given, how should you analyze? Just see, let me give you a trick in this. Now here they have given two complexes. Here in this, the metal ion is the same. Here the metal ion is different. Here also the metal ion is same. Right. On what basis will I judge? I'll be judging this based on the ligand. Remember this. Now for the first concept, the trick which you should remember is, when they're given you like this, your concept should go on whether that is a strong ligand or a weak ligand. Now when I say Cn minus, Cn is what type of ligand? It is a strong ligand. What about water? Water is a neutral ligand. Neutral ligand, correct? No? Right. So what should you analyze? Whenever there is a strong ligand, correct? So strong ligands will have greater crystal field, will have greater crystal field stabilizing energy, will have greater crystal field strength, or greater crystal field strength, or stabilizing energy delta naught. So here they've asked this. So if it is a strong ligand, compulsory the crystal field strength will be more. So here in compared to both, which will have more CFSC? I'll take the first one. So this is the complex. Let us take the next one. Here both our ligands are same, water and water. I can't judge based on that. Now I'll be judging based on the metal atom which is given. So what should you judge here in the second case? Remember, here when I take, one is cobalt. Let us turn the page. In the second question, one is cobalt. Cobalt belongs to which series? 3D series, correct? Okay. RH belongs to which series? It belongs to 4D series. Now how can I judge? See here. Always remember, when we move from, or when we compare between 3D and 4D series, yes, so the crystal field stabilization energy delta naught will be more for 4D series. This is important thing. So compared to both the higher series 4D, this will have more crystal field stabilizing energy. So which one is in 4D series? RH. So which is the complex? I have to tick. The stable complex is the second one. Let us come to the third one. Now in this case, chromium, both are same. Water and water, both are same. On what should I judge? I'll be judging on the oxidation state. Remember. So the last trick, the third trick which you should remember, important is, if the charge is higher, what should I remember? If the charge or the oxidation number or the charge is higher, crystal field stabilizing energy will be higher. So in comparison, if the charge of the oxidation number is higher, the CFSC also will be higher. So here, which charge is higher? This one. Which will be more stable? This will be more stable, isn't it? So hope this is clear, students. So this is your third question. Now let's come and do the fourth question. Yes, students, one more interesting question, that is question number 4. Let's read this. Here what do they give us? They've given us the octahedral complex of a metal M+3 with 4 monodentate ligands L1, L2, L3 and L4 absorb wavelength in the region of red, green, yellow and blue. Okay. So the increasing order of ligand, they would have given you 4 answers with one increasing order with different variations. So the increasing order of the ligand is, okay, nothing. First, I understand this is an octahedral complex. Okay. Then they said there are 4 ligands, that's also fine. But they have given me one clue here. They absorb the wavelength in the region of red, green, yellow and blue. This is the clue for me. So basically when I take the solution part, the thing which you should remember, what is the frequency order of given absorbed light? So let us write that. So basically this is frequency order of given absorbed light. So the frequency order of given absorbed light, what is the first thing? The first one is blue. Okay, blue is greater than green. Green is greater than yellow. Yellow is greater than red. This is the order. Correct? Now, so here when I see the order, now see here, L1 it absorbs red, L2 green, L3 yellow, L4 blue. Correct? Now can you write the order? I can, right, isn't it? L4 is greater than L2 because green is L2 greater than L3 greater than L1. That's fine. Now, here we very well know these ligands, they cause high splitting gap when they split for the octahedral complexes. They cause a high splitting gap. Why? Because of DD transition. Correct. So what can we write? Because of this high energy or the splitting gap for the octahedral complex. And they absorb high frequency only because they split, the energy of the DD transition will be more. So the correct order of this is this one. Simple, isn't it? Yes. Now let us take this out and come and do the 5th question. Right, let's come and do the 5th question, students. One more concept on the magnetic moment. Let's see. Here they've given the correct order of magnetic moment, that is the spin values in Bohr magneton of the following. So here they've given manganese, iron, cobalt. They've given the atomic number for manganese 25, iron 26 and cobalt 27. So here I have to find what is the correct order of magnetic moment. So simple, I'll give you a simple trick. Now first of all, which is there? We have iron. Okay, let me take this pen. We have iron is 1. Let us write Fe. Okay, then we have manganese is 1. Let us write manganese. Then we have cobalt. Cobalt also is there. Now, here I think you know how to calculate the oxidation state. For example, let us take one example. Here MnCl4 is there. Let us take this MnCl4 minus 2. So how to calculate? This is x plus 4 into your this one minus 1 is equal to minus 2. X is equal to how much? Plus 2. So same like that for this also. 6 minus 2 4. 4 minus 2 is 6 minus 4 is 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. So for everything it is plus 2. So manganese is plus 2. Iron is plus 2. Cobalt is plus 2. This is simple over. So you calculate the oxidation state. Now so here Mn plus 2 means if I take out how much, what is the stable configuration Mn plus 2? It is nothing but 3d5. In 3d5, how many unpaired electrons are there? 5. In Fe plus 2, 3d6. How many unpaired electrons are there? d6 means if I take the thing, okay, here it 5, if you distribute like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, 3d6. So this is 6. Now you have to see the ligand. What is there? Cn is there. Because Cn is a strong field ligand, this also pairs up. Again, this also pairs up. So the number of unpaired electrons here are 0 because it pairs up, isn't it? Cn minus is a strong field ligand. Again, in cobalt, it is 3d7. The number of unpaired electrons are 3. So here the correct order of magnetic moment, this is 5, 0, 3. What is the correct order? Which is maximum? Manganese, this one is maximum, then comes cobalt, then this. So the correct option is D. So simple, only 3 steps are there. Within 30 seconds you can finish off this. Now let's come and solve question number 6. Right, students, let us come and solve the next question. That is your sixth question. Let's read. Hope you are understanding the earlier questions. Let's read. Right. Here, arrange the following compounds in order of increasing molar conductivity. Wow. So, what is this molar conductivity in coordination compounds? Let's see. I'll give you a small trick. Here, they have given me ABCD 4 different complexes. Nothing. Simple thing you need to do, remember, is the trick. Let's write. See here. Larger the number of ions, okay, listen, ligands attached to the metal ion, remember, larger the charge, correct, no? The number of ions are more, the mobility will be more, they start moving it, okay, so larger the charge on each, this is fine, okay. Then what will happen to the conductivity? Obviously, larger the conductivity, the ions will, more number of ions means they also, the conductivity will be more spread, correct. Now, if I have to write the order, if I have to check here which has the more number, so I am writing from lowest to highest. Let us write this lowest to highest, lowest to highest. Right, in this lowest to highest order, if I put a box like this, okay. So, which is the highest among all these? Complex C. This is, see here, how many ligands are there? How many ions are there? 5, 3, 6. So, the highest would be C, more mobility, right. Before that, which one? Then comes D. Before that, which one? We have two options left. One is A and one is B. Compared to these two, A and B, more number will be in A. And more number means the thing is B. So, remember this, larger the number of ions, larger will be the charge, more will be the conductivity. So, the order would be from lowest to highest, C has highest, B has least. Simple, isn't it? So, how did we solve? Simply, we have solved the conductivity, this one, problem based on your coordination concept. Right, let's come and do the next question, that is the seventh question. So, in the seventh question, let's read what is given. They said the primary and the secondary valency, that is your Werner's theory, valency of chromium in the complex ion dichloro-dioxalato chromium 3. Okay, now I don't know the complex. I simply don't know how to draw the complex also. I'm blank. No problem. How to solve this? Let me give a trick for you. So, we very well know, according to Werner's theory, the primary valency, we have two types of valencies, isn't it? So, please watch the video for Werner's theory, which I did. You will understand clearly the concept, right? So, here primary valency, always it denotes which state? It denotes the oxidation state, correct? No, primary valency denotes the oxidation state. Done. Now here the secondary valency, it always denotes which one? It denotes the coordination number. This is what we know, correct? No, right? So, coordination number. Now come back to the complex. Here the one which is there, here, see here, the one which is there outside, it is nothing but the oxidation state. So, what is the oxidation state here? The oxidation state is 3, correct, over. Now, coordination number, how to know coordination number? Here they have given dioxalato. Oxalato is a bidentate ligand, correct? No, bidentate ligand, correct. Dichloro also is there. 2 chlorines plus dioxalato means 4. 4 plus 2, 6. How many? This one is there. 4 plus 2, 6 ligands. 6 ligands are there around chromium. So, what is the coordination number? It is 6. 3 and 6, which is the option here. The correct option is nothing but 3 and 6. That is your C option. Simple, isn't it? So, within not even 20 seconds, we did the we have solved the numerical. Now, let's come and do the next numerical. That is question number 8. Right. So, when it comes to question number 8, let's read the question. What is given? So, here they've given CFSC for, that is crystal field stabilizing energy for high spin D4 octahedral complex. So, they have given this, how to solve. Now, here it is D4 octahedral complex. So, what clue did they give me? They said it is high spin complex. Correct. So, high spin means, just see, it is nothing but weak ligand. Weak field ligands only show high spin complexes. Correct. Weak field ligand. I got one clue now. Okay. So, low spin means it is nothing but strong field ligand. So for high spin weak field ligand, what is the configuration they have given? D4. Now we very well know for the weak field ligand, it is not going to, or it will not pair up. Correct? So high spin or weak field ligand, so D4 configuration, it's not going to pair up. If it is not going to pair up, what is the configuration? It is T2G3 and EG1. Correct? No? Yes, T2G3 and EG1. Now, right, according to crystal field stabilization energy, how to calculate? We calculate 3 into 0.4 minus 1 into 0.6. Correct? No? We have seen the crystal field stabilization formula also. In that, this is the value which you have got. So, if I simplify this, CFSE, how much it comes to? 0.6 delta naught. So, the correct option is A. This is simple. Yes. Right. So now let's come and do the 9th numerical. Let us solve the 9th question, students. Here there is very interesting question. Let's see this. The correct order, that is the correct increasing order of trans effect of the following species. So the trans effect of this following species is, they have given this. First of all, what is trans effect? Now let us take one example. First let me explain the trans effect example. So this is your metal. You have ligands basically on all the 4 sides. Now this ligand is in trans, means both are in trans positions, right? I'm taking one more. Next, I'm introducing one nucleophile to this, where I'm taking out minus X, and again I'm going to have positions, trans positions, ligand, both are in trans positions. This is T, and this nucleophile replaces X. I'm getting Nu. So basically, we are talking in terms of square planar complexes. Now, what is trans effect? Just see here, this one. Trans effect is nothing but it is the effect of the ligand. It is the effect of the ligand where I'm comparing one ligand over the rate of another ligand. Means I'm comparing one ligand to the other ligand which is in trans position. So, how do we define trans effect? It is the effect of the ligand over the rate of substitution of another ligand. Rate of substitution of another ligand in the transposition. Done. Now, how to solve this question? Important thing to remember is always the intensity of trans effect. On what does it depend? It depends upon increase in rate of substituents in the trans ligand. Once again, let us write the intensity of trans effect. When does, or how does it depend on? It depends on increase in rate of substitution of trans ligands. Okay, what is this? What is the order? Remember, the order is basically, just see, I'll write in the next page. The order is F minus less than NH3 minus less than Cl minus less than Br minus less than pH minus less than CH3 minus less than Cn minus. Okay. One more thing also I'll give you. Whenever they are pi acceptor ligands, remember pi acceptor ligands, what do? They increase the strength of metal ligand bonds. This is what they're going to do. They're going to increase the metal ligand bond. In which position? In transposition. You need to remember this. So transposition, if they're there, they increase the metal ligand strength. This is okay. Now, what are the different things, or if I have to speak? The order is NO plus greater than CO, greater than Cn minus, greater than C2H4, greater than pH, greater than NO2 minus, greater than I minus, greater than SCN minus, greater than Br minus, greater than Cl minus, greater than Py, greater than NH3, greater than OH minus, and water. I have given a full complete order of the pi acceptor ligands. If you find this in the exam, you can use this data in the exam. That's fine, students. Yes. So here, when I take this order according to this option, which I have to say, I have to see, right? The increasing order, which is the correct order. Now let's check and come back to this answer. Now, which is the increasing order? The highest according to this is Cn minus. This is the option 2, no? Option 2, because according to this order, if I have to check Cn, yeah. So the correct option is Cn minus is the correct answer, right? Okay. Now let us come and solve the 10th question. Okay, this is very important concept, Jahn-Teller effect, very important in your coordination compounds. Let's solve the question. So basically, they have given me Jahn-Teller effect is observed in high spin complexes of D7, D8, D4, D9. First of all, what is Jahn-Teller effect? Let us understand. But before that, let us draw the orbitals for this and then it's done. Now they said Jahn-Teller effect is not observed. I have to see this, not observed in which one. Take this, draw the orbitals D4. So T2G set and EG set, how do they divide? So for D4, if I have to draw in T2G, so 1, 2, 3, in EG is 1. Let us write after D4, let us write D7. So again T2G set 1, 2, 3, 4, correct, 5, 6, and there is one more 7. If I take D8, how to draw this? In T2G set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. In EG 7, 8. If I have to draw D9, just see again T2G set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Next comes your EG. So I think this is wrong, no? Half. I have to draw here. EG means doublet, no? I'm sorry. EG is doublet set. Okay. Here 1 and this will be in this order. In EG set again, I have to draw 1, 2 because 3, 6 are over, 7, 8, 9. Okay. Now I have drawn, right? So T2G is triplet degenerate set and doublet degenerate set. Now wherever there is one electron, here you're finding where are they? Here 1. This is asymmetric in nature, correct, no? Right. Next, here this is also 1. This is also asymmetric in nature, asymmetric. Here we have half and half. This is symmetric in nature. Then again this is also asymmetric in nature, asymmetric. Now see, what is Jahn-Teller effect? Basically Jahn-Teller is asymmetric filling. See here, this one, this one, this one. Jahn-Teller effect, D4, D7 and D9 are showing. See here, now definition, let us see. Asymmetric effect is Jahn-Teller effect is a asymmetric filling of EG orbitals. This one, this is the asymmetrical filling of EG orbitals. What will happen because of this? Because of this, it will make, or this results the ligand, whatever ligands you're adding, it starts rippling. And because of this, what happens? There is distortion in the complex, octahedral complex in it, the shape would be distorted. So nothing, Jahn-Teller effect is the asymmetrical filling of orbitals, that too in the EG set. Because of this, what happens? Rippling of ligands. And because of this, what happens? Distortion of octahedral complexes. The shape would be distorted. Simple, isn't it, students? Yes, this is what I have solved all the 10 questions. If you still feel you want more and more like this only, different varieties, please write in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Hope the concept is clear. I have covered in almost all the concepts of this, and these are the most important and frequently asked questions. Thank you for watching. Please share, like and subscribe to WOC, and I request you to share to more and more students. That is where my struggle ends. I want more and more students to watch this. Thank you. Stay happy.